Josh. Hey, I'm RebelDragon95. Welcome to Lost Judgment. We are going to be running the DLC for this game this time. Last time I played this game at ESA, it was the full game. So I guess we can just get going. So I'll go in 3, 2, 1, go. All right. So for a bit of background on this game, Lost Judgment is a sequel to a game called Judgment, which is a spin-off of the Yakuza games. If you've played any of the later Yakuza games, specifically the ones on the Dragon engine, you'll recognize how this game looks and basically some of the combat mechanics. So yeah, we get thrown straight into a chasing section. We have to chase down this guy Sender. In the cutscene I skipped, we were investigating a case where a shady detective agency had basically screwed over a client. So basically the Judgment games are like games about a detective agency run by a guy called Yagami, and Kaito's like his like assistant and like second in command with running the agency. All right. So all these QTs are consistent throughout all of them. I know where they're all going to be and what they all are. So he always tells people to get out of the way with circle. He jumps over signs with triangle. He jumps over bikes with X, and he runs through and he runs through barriers with square. All right. And then once we get to the end of this, we go straight into combat. And combat in the Dragon Engine games is all about doing your punches and your kicks and whatever. And if you've played the Yakuza games, Yakuza 0 and Yakuza Kiwami, you'll probably notice that Kaito's fighting styles are basically very similar versions to Kiryu's Brawler and Beast style. We start off with the Brawler, or in Kaito's case, it's called Bruiser. And it's based around doing heavy attacks and launching. We don't have the launcher yet, but we will be getting that at some point. All right, so now we get told, yep, gotta fight these guys. Right, so this is like the tutorial. Oh, nice, he went towards the middle. So, oh, thank you. Right, so when you're locked onto enemies, you can actually dodge out of actions. So you can cancel all recovery of your heavy attacks. And I'll be doing that throughout the run to make sure that I'm constantly adding out the DPS. Thank you, Sender. And there should be like, yeah, there's a couple of guys left. Yeah. Oh, there's a guy that's bad. If that guy hit me, that would have knocked me over and been real bad, but yeah. What you're going for there is you're hoping that Sender walks to the middle, and then when you attack Sender, multiple guys get in the way of the heavy, because the heavy basically one-shots them. So trying to get multi-target hits there is what that was all about. But I didn't get as many there as I wanted. So this is us basically oh, if I could skip the cutscene, that'd be very useful. Thank you. This is us wrapping up the case with that woman, and then Hoshino talking about how he has to go back to work. And then the main character from the main game, Yagami, is actually off dealing with a different case, which is why we get to play as Kaito in this. And then Kaito goes, I want to go out for a drink, so he starts inviting all of his friends out, including the guy who just said, oh, I need to go to work and I don't have time for anything. And then he's like, I guess I'll go by myself then. Right. Oh, I fell down the stairs a little bit. You can fall down the stairs there and save like a second if you want. But it's really hard to always consistently fall down the stairs. Right, so that little tutorial there teaches you about the Kaito's investigation mode, which is like this game's first-person mode. Kaito has like enhanced smelling and hearing capabilities, so compared to Yagami, so he has like different mechanics around that. Right, so we're gonna pop into the bar. We're gonna have a quick drink with these two characters. I never remember these characters' names, but they're very important in like the first Judgment game, and they do appear a little bit in Lost Judgment, but you basically skip all the cutscenes with them. Right, so they tell us about a case for this guy Kiryuya Sadamoto here, and he's going over a bunch of different things with the case. Then Kaito ultimately decides he can't do the case as he personally knows someone involved in it, and he doesn't want to put his own, and he doesn't want to jeopardize the case with his own feelings. So he decides the next day he's going to go back to the bar to see if there's anything else happening around the city that he can deal with. But on the way there, we get phoned by Higashi, who asks for a bit of help with some guys causing trouble at his arcade. Just popping in to buy an item. That gives me 5% attack. Buying level 1 attack. If I can mainly be useful. Park Boulevard. Right, so we're going to Charles. If you have played Judgment, you go to Charles an awful lot throughout that game for various different reasons. You go there a number of times in Lost Judgment as well. I didn't fall downstairs. You can also fall down the stairs there and save a tiny bit of time. Right, so this is a tutorial for Kaito's second style called Tank. Tank is very much like Beast from Zero and Kiwami, where it's all based around using weapons. If that guy gets scared of you, he falls over, so you have to use heat action on him. Otherwise, you just lose time trying to hit him. The heat action actually loses you like a second and a half to 2 seconds because the ending of the fight takes a little bit longer to fade out. That's fine. So that was chapter 1. Right, so chapter 2. Chapter 2 starts with a little bit of a flashback section talking about how Kaito met the person who was involved in the... I can't skip cutscenes. The person involved in the case that he was talking about with Kyoya, Sadamoto, and this is woman here, Makiko. So she's in the office causing trouble and trying to break this guy's arm. That's her sister. So we're just basically looking around the room to see if we can solve the problem. That is her CV, and that is a box of sweets. Right, so what happened was she came in here with a box of sweets as a peace offering because her sister did something wrong. And then something happened with her sister, so she got angry and went, yep, I'm going to break this guy's arm. Right. So she ends up working for one of the clubs that Kaito runs as part of his Yakuza family activities. And because she tends to get involved with like the wrong types of people, Kaito always asks her to do stuff to save her. Oh, I didn't mean to pick up the cone. I wanted this. That's what I wanted. And hopefully... Gonna use the action there. That's fine. Right, so yeah, so you fight those guys because they're causing trouble at the club and need to be dealt with in classic Yakuza fashion, which is punch them until they disappear. Oh, if I can skip, yeah, cool. Right, so that's the end of chapter 2's flashback section. Right, so this kid called Jun here, the kid with the red head, shows up in our detective office, also asking about the same person that Kyoya, that Sadamoto was asking about yesterday. And now Kaito decides to look into it a little bit more since this kid Jun basically won't leave him alone. Oh, I didn't mean to climb on the car. Oh, the Dragon Engine. So the Dragon Engine, the Dragon Engine's physics are really wild in a lot of ways, and you can do a lot of really weird things. Sometimes you will just climb onto random objects, and if they're like small enough, they will just burst and destroy underneath you. Right, so we talk to this guy who's asleep. So what we're going to do is we're going to see he has like earphones in. We're going to grab this megaphone. We're going to shout at him, tell him to wake up. That wakes him up. And he gives us a bit of information about whether he's seen the woman in question, Makiko. And he said something about it, but I can't remember what it is. But he gives us a bit of a clue after the fight with these two guys. Oh, thank you. It's by attack level 2. Deadly Dance, which increases our weapon damage. Gonna grab that. Grab that, please. Thank you. Right, cool. And hopefully I get both of them. Okay, he's moving away. Ideally, you get both of these guys together, but it didn't really work out there. There you go. That's fine. All right. So after this, we get told about a lead elsewhere in the city. So Josh, if you've got anything you want to say, feel free to go ahead.
All right, awesome. I would just like to let you know that we just opened tomorrow's bid wars and incentives. There's quite a few to list. We got some cosplays, we got some naming incentives. Yeah, there's a whole lot. So take a look at donations.esamarathon.com. Maybe donate while you're there, and you can look at the list of incentives and see what you can put your money towards. Thank you very much.
Right, cool. So when we go to the champion district here, these guys, Jin kind of starts a fight with them. They put a knife on him, and turns out Jin has a phobia of knives, so he faints. And Kaito's like, well, guess I got to punch these guys now. And we're coming here to see Momoko, I think that's her name. And then she tells us that she has seen, I think she tells us she's seen, oh, I can't. Yeah, that she's seen Makiko lately, so I have to upgrade my nose. So I need to upgrade my nose because you can find different items around the city with the nose upgrades. I need to grab an item from this bin over here. we go, is the demonic Fundoshi. It gives us a bit more attack. And now I'm going to the Millennium Tower. Oh, there's a fight spawn there. But that's not really a problem. Right, so generally fight spawns are random. They run around the city, but in this case it doesn't really matter because the area that I'm going to is what we know is an area trigger in the Dragon Engine. Basically, if you run into an area trigger while in a fight, it just despawns everything around you, so you don't need to worry about it. So we talked to the woman behind the desk there. Then we're going to go upstairs and see what other information we can find. There's this little kid here that tells us about the cleaning lady, potentially knowing some more information, so we're going to go find the cleaning lady. The cleaning lady is in the basement level. But she won't talk to us right now because she's lost her cat, so we've got to go find her cat real quick. So we're going to grab the drone. You can actually use the drone to despawn fights, so if I need to despawn a fight from now on, I do need to use the drone. Yep, now that we've got the cat down from the windowsill, she will actually talk to us. And now here's Sender again. Sender's back to get his revenge because he doesn't like us. Right, so I'm going to run over here, grab this sign, and just start swinging at them. Missed everyone, but it's fine. Right, going to quick change. Right, so the thing you can do in the Dragon Engine game is you can actually quick change between your two styles. You could change in the first Judgment game, but you had to do it at the apex of your moves. But in Lost Judgment, they made it so you could do it whenever, as long as you you're doing a move. You can quick change and normally cancel whatever animations you're doing. You can use that to juggle enemies as Kaito, which I'll be doing at some point. There we go. Right, I'm actually gonna. So after this, we need to go and investigate the agency that Sender is from, because Kaito's basically like, why do they keep attacking me? So I'm gonna go up to Park Boulevard again. Before I drop in there, I'm actually gonna grab a quick item on the field. It gives you an ability called Gory Finisher, which is Kaito's second additional finisher that he can use on his moves.
Right
Oh, there it is, and now I'll go over here. So when we go in here, we find out that the agency that the detective agency that Sender works for has been moved. So we got to find the address for the new office. So
What have we here?
we find this box, and the box has a moving company's number on it. So we're going to phone that number. And basically, Kaito acts as if he's one of the moving guys who doesn't know, who needs a reminder of the address, and that's how he gets the address of the new place. So the new place is just off of Pink Street. If you've played Judgment, this building is the KJ Art Building, which you visit a number of times throughout that game for various different reasons. Cool, there's a fight spawn there, but they're not going to see me. But I managed to avoid them. This area, this loading zone is not an area trigger, so if you get caught there, you have got to fight those guys. Right, so this is stealth section. Right, so in stealths, you need to do things like hide and throw coins, but on the lower difficulties, it doesn't really matter. You can just kind of run past everyone. Kaito's stealth sections are a little bit different to Yagami's in the main game. In the main game, Yagami can only do takedowns on the Yakuza guys when they are either stunned or they don't see that, when they're either distracted by coins or they're stunned by smoke bombs. Kaito doesn't really care. He'll just if you get caught by a guy, you'll start a QTE, and then the QTE, if you do the QTE, he'll beat the guy up, and then you just get to move on. So you're incredibly stealthy, of course. So if I go up here, oh, actually turning in the Dragon Engine can sometimes be a bit funky. So I'm gonna run up here. This guy sees you, and then if you just do the QTE, it doesn't really matter. Go. Right, so what Kaito's looking for in each of these rooms, he's basically looking for Jun, because Jun got taken by Sender, by one of Sender's guys during the fight that we were having outside the Millennium Tower. Oh yeah, you can skip the first one of these door cutscenes, you can't skip the other two. So what happens is Kaito knocks on the door and he hits him with the door. Because yeah, totally great. If you actually hold forward a little bit too early and run, I'll do it now. You actually open the door again because the game doesn't fully deload the door. So you just get a nice slow animation of him pushing nothing away. Right. Primal ear. What's that? You can actually go and open that door back there, but you don't need to. There's nothing in there.
Is this it?
Right. So over here, right, we have to open this door. There's a key behind this door that we need to open a gate. to get up to the higher floors of the building.
Lights out.
And once we do that, I have a quick menu I've got. I didn't mean to do it too early there. I've got a quick menu I've got to do where I, oh, if I can get through the door, that would be infinitely useful. I've got a quick menu I can do where I basically buy most of the abilities that I use for the run. Oh yeah, he tells the door to suck it because you opened it and you obviously bodied the door by opening it. Right. Avoiding those squares on the floor is actually kind of difficult sometimes. They actually have quite large hitboxes that tend to drag you in. So you have to run kind of wide a little bit there, but not too wide to where you like lose time from like turning too much. Where am I? That one, no to buy Russell Rage, buy Repel, buy Crippling Pile Driver, and buy Global Finisher. And cool. I've got everything I need for right now. Right, so we find Jun in this room, and then this guy called Fudo the Killer appears. So this guy is in a few sub-stories in Judgment. Hopefully I get this right. Okay, I accidentally bodied the chair. That's what I wanted. And cool. So in this game, what I just did there is called a mortal reversal. When boss enemies do their boss enemies and certain enemies do their big attacks where they get purple electricity stuff around them. If they hit you with them, they do a lot of damage and they knock you down, and you basically get like an animation where you don't get up for a while. But by dodging them as they attack you, you do what's called a mortal reversal, and you just deal a brick of damage to them while also avoiding the massive hitbox that just bodies you. Oh yeah, so we're actually losing a pursuer, but we're going to change into a set of work clothes right in front of him because he's literally right there. And he goes, wow, Kaito's just gone. And he leaves. So we said we meet Jun at the baseball center, at the batting center. So we're going to quickly run up there now. One thing I have been doing throughout this run is taxiing from the menu. So when they released Yakuza 7, Like a Dragon, they made it so you could taxi from the menu. But because that game is a turn-based RPG with like with different level capped areas and things, you have to go around and unlock all the taxi spots in order to use them. But in Lost Judgment, because this is an action RPG where you can pretty much go anywhere you want, they just gave you all the taxi locations in both this city and in Yokohama, which you go to in main game. So you pretty much runs of this when we first started doing them and still do it now, they revolve around us optimizing where we need to go on the map at what time, basically using the fast travel points to go around everywhere. So what I did there was Kaito smells a different brand of cigarette inside his office. So he's like, wait, there's someone else in there because I don't smoke that brand. So we're going to use the drone to go and have a look, see what's happening. And yep. So because Kaito doesn't really want to get involved much further, he actually phones the police and tells them that he has trespassers on his office space. And yeah, that's how we get rid of Sender that time. So the cleaning lady actually gets back to us after our conversation earlier and tells us that we need to go to we need to go a bit out into the country to meet a guy called Shirakawa. So that was the end of chapter 2. So chapter 3 starts with another little bit of a flashback section with a bit of backstory between Kaito and Mikiko, where they have a bit of breakfast together, and then Kaito tells her about how he's going to go do it about this Yakuza raid that he needs to go and do for his boss. It doesn't actually matter what order you do these conversation dialogues in. You have to do all of them. And even the ones before, we had 2 options. It doesn't matter which one you do. We just like to do good boyfriend Kaito, and then we do the one where he goes, yeah, I might actually have to go punch people and kill people today. So Shirakawa asks, how did we find out about him? And we go, oh yeah, the cleaning lady kind of ratted you out. In this investigation, we're basically looking for evidence that Makiko actually was around this area.
It's right here.
And so we look at the bag, and the bag that she's holding is the same bag that's in this room. And the image of the photo is actually after her supposed death, which is something that comes up in, a little bit in chapter 2. And it turns out that she had a really bad fall and she got amnesia, so she ended up in Shirakawa's care for a while before she gained her memory back and just left. Alright. So, this is the Crimson Lotus. This is like a group created by by kind of the mastermind of the story of this, right? So I'm buying level 3 in attack. Level 3 in attack is just for more damage. Right, that was a quick change. When you're juggling enemies... Oh, thank you for batting me in the back with a bat. Cool. Finisher again. That should knock him out. And I just need to do a bit of extra damage on these guys to get a bit of meter. Right, now we're going to EX mode. So EX mode is a mode which gives you access to dodging out of basically anything. So normally you can dodge out of anything apart from your big gory finisher. So that move there. You can't dodge out of it in without EX mode active. And EX mode also gives you access to kind of like a special combo, which ends in a launcher for Kaito. But it's just a pretty decent combo to go through, especially on bosses because because they count as heavy attacks, which means when they do their big invincible moves, you can use it to hit through their guard. Actually, I did the wrong move there. Thank you. Right, cool. So that's the end of that fight. So right after that fight, the boss of the Crimson Lotus, a guy called Kenmochi, shows up. And in this cutscene, at the start of the boss fight, he's holding a big lamppost with a bit of concrete at the end. What happens is he shows up, drinks like 2 bottles of wine, then pulls us out of the ground and tries to hit us with it. I'm going to get knocked over by that, because of course I am. So what I was going for there was I was trying to squeeze in a finisher before he actually did anything to me, but I kind of mistimed my hit. Alright, cool. So now he goes into EX mode, and I'm just going to wait for him to start his mortal attack. Then I'm going to dodge it. And he's going to roll. That's fine. Oh, okay. I whiffed my attack there, but that's fine. Oh yeah, I'm about to block the concrete with my elbow, because of course that makes sense. Right, so this QTE is a couple of mash ones. So we got a circle, then it's triangle, then it's square, then we go back to triangle, then circle. It's kind of like a little like triangle. And if you do everything right, you win the fight. So while the end of the fight's playing out, if you've got anything you got to say, Josh, please feel free to go ahead.
All right, lovely. Just like to tell you that the upcoming run, Horizon Forbidden West, has a bid war for it. You can pick the choice between 4 different costumes that we'll use for the run. 4 different color ones. So we've got Renegade Sentinel is currently in the lead. It's basically the green one. Has $23.46. We got Scorched Ochre, which is the orange one, which has $23.45. That's right, literally 1 cent difference. And then we got yellow and purple, both with 0. So if you want to donate and change what color outfit we're going to use for the next run, get your donations in now.
All right, cool. Right, so now we're back in Kamurocho. We actually hear about a building that's on fire, so we decided to go take a look at it. Because Kaito is trying to see if because he finds out from Kenmochi that there's a potential that Mikiko might be involved with the Crimson Lotus. Oh, I didn't mean to pick up that. I wanted a chair. Alright, that's fine. I'll just swing the ashtray around. Yeah, so he finds out that Mikiko might be involved with doing something a little bit shady with the Crimson Lotus. So he wants to make sure that oh, okay, that was not what I wanted to do. So he goes to investigate to make sure that she isn't involved in that. Right. Normally you pick up the chair there and the chair bodies him, but the ashtray is not the best weapon in the world for doing that because of how Kaito swings it. Right, so we need to go in the building here. And we're going to run upstairs. Oh, yeah, cool. That turn is really annoying because of how the Dragon Engine works with how wide you turn. So hopefully smack that guy. We're going to run up to the roof. And when we get to the roof, there's going to be 2 more guys that try and shoot us as well. But we're also going to smack them. Go around here. So one good thing about this DLC, actually, you actually get to listen to the background song of this a lot more. In Lost Judgment's main game, you only get to hear this song a little bit in the speedrun because of how fast you go through the area. But in Kaito, you get to hear it a lot more because of this set piece being a lot longer. All right, go around here. When you get onto this part of the roof, there is a guy with a sword that tries to attack you. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Hopefully I don't destroy the chair. Oh, I did, so I just grabbed the ashtray instead. So what I did there is I quick changed it into tank, and I was trying to pick up the bench, but the bench got destroyed during. Okay. The bench got destroyed during my gory finisher, which happens sometimes, and if that happens, you have to pick up the ashtray or the bin, whichever one is there. I just happened to be the ashtray. Right, so we go up to the roof, and what we actually find on the roof is we find Mikiko about to shoot someone, And Kaito goes, hang on a second here. And because he spent too much time in the fire, he does, unfortunately, come into a bit of medical issues. Sadamoto here turns up at the hospital because he hears wind that we saw Makiko, because he's still looking for her. So now we're going to go, oh, fucking... Oh, there it is. So now that the building fire has been put out, we're actually going to go and try and investigate it to see what else we can find. But in order to do that, we have to pretty much avoid the police that are patrolling the area doing their own investigations. So this is the second stealth section that Kaito does. I will probably... I'm going to try not to fail this, but it's very easy to fail this if that happens. You get stuck up behind the chair because of how the dragon engine works. It's fine. That guy normally gets me. He's pretty annoying to get by. Oh, that's fine. Too close. That was silly. There's actually a checkpoint behind me that you can go grab, but it's slow to go grab it, so I'm not going to go grab it. Oh, I skipped a dialogue box. Run past this guy, run around that guy. Thank you for hitting the hitbox for that. Hopefully, there's a policeman out here. Hopefully, he's not right by the door. No, he isn't. There is another guy here that you need to run by. There you go. And, right, cool. So once you run past that guy, he looks around for like a second and then he starts moving. What we used to do is we used to just hover behind him the whole way, but that's really, that's like really slow because you had to get to this bit with this throw coin to even start avoiding him. But once he gets around the corner, when you basically run past him, you can throw the coin early and then he doesn't see you when you stand up in front of him and start running away. I'll throw one more coin here. And this guy should notice it and move in. He's about to go now. You don't want to go too early because if this guy can also see you, and if he sees you and catches you, you go back to the start because I didn't grab the checkpoint in the middle. And because you get this far in, all the cycles of all the policemen change. Or in some cases they do, in some cases they don't. I get wild results sometimes depending on what I do in that stealth section and if I fail in particular ways or not. So just not failing it is much better. Right, so we need to open the drawer, but the drawer is stuck. So we're going to find a crowbar, because of course there's a crowbar in here. And we're going to use the crowbar to open the drawer. Crowbar. Or there's give up if you don't have the crowbar. And there's a tablet in here. The code for the tablet is 413625. I don't actually remember where it tells you that in this room. It's somewhere in this room. But because I just know the code, you can type it in and skip doing that part of the investigation. And then he finds out that there was information about some of the Crimson Lotus guys in the burning building. So there was someone who was trying to destroy some evidence, and that's why the building was set on fire. All right. Right, so, because we need more information out of Kamochi, we're actually going to go and do the Kaito mode's, Kaito Files' tailing section. So in Judgment, because this is a game based around doing things like investigations and stuff, the tailing sections are you basically following people and investigating what they are doing and where they're going. So, because this is basically a pretty long auto-scroller for the first couple of bits of it. Josh, if you've got anything you can say, please feel free.
All right. Well, I'll just take this time to remind you about our wonderful prizes.esamarathon.com. What color is your PS5, Rebel?
It's white.
It's white. Wouldn't it be better if it was purple and yellow with a big ESA logo on it?
Probably.
Probably. Well, you can win just exactly that PS5 for a minimum donation of $200 across the whole event. You can be in the running for this PS5 with custom ESA colors. I don't think there'll be too many people donating $200 or more across the event. So if you get that in, you could well win that PS5. We have a bunch of other lovely prizes, all of their own minimum donations amounts, and there's just too many to read. So head on over to prizes.esamarathon.com and have a look at all the crazy things you can win. Yeah, thank you.
All right, so when you're doing the tailing sections, there are many different factors that factor into like whether they notice you or not. You making sounds or running into people is like the main one. And there's a little bar in the top right that shows his alert level. Depending on how much percentage that's filled up by, not only dictates whether you pass or fail, because obviously if it gets to 100%, you just automatically fail. Because he's obviously seen you. But the higher the alert meter goes, the more likely they are to hear you. So you have to be very careful in some of these that get pretty long. Oh, did not mean to get a scene there. All right, so he'll move on there. In some instances, it's actually faster to get caught and then move on from there, because it stops their long animations earlier. Alright, so we're nearly at the end of the second part of this tale. I can see a donation has come in, so Josh, feel free to go ahead.
All right, lovely. We got a $25 donation from Chris Mitka, or Mitka, yeah, we'll go with that one, who put their $25 towards Nightblood for the color for the upcoming bid war for... I've lost it now. I didn't set myself up for this very well. Ah, crud. It's Horizon Forbidden West outfit color choice. So with that $25 donation, now purple, which is Nightblood, is now in the lead. So if you want to change the color for the upcoming run, it's that simple. Get your donations in, and we can use either purple, green, orange, or yellow. So have a look at donations.esamarathon.com or scroll down below the stream.
All right, so what I did at the start of the third part of the tailing section here, the loading trigger to start the fight that happens after the third bit of the tailing section is actually just right there. So you can use that to activate the end of the third tailing part earlier. Right, his percentage is actually quite high, so I have to be very careful on the second skip I'm going to go for in this, because after this part of the tail, the second to last one actually has another fight trigger that's just there that you can run into. But there is a way to kind of like stop him from gaining too much, but hopefully it doesn't. But if it does fail, it's fine. You just go back to where that car is, and then, because that's where the checkpoint is. All right, going around the corner here. If you're actually right here and he stops by where that white van is, yeah, there's an invisible wall there. Even though he can plainly see you, he just doesn't see you. All right, you gotta be careful here because he can just turn around like that.
Grab some grub. I'm probably fine.
Oh, I'm just gonna wait for him to move on a little bit more before I move. You fine to go now? All right, cool. That got pretty scary there, but now I'm gonna go run around here.
Right there.
Now I need to run in here for a second just to make sure, because that there is just out of his view, so you can do that to stall the timer a little bit if you're a little bit too high. Right, so there's another fight here. I'm actually gonna go grab the motorbike over here, and the motorbike does a lot of damage, so. And yep, gonna throw it on this guy. That should actually kill him from there. Yep, that got him. And there's two more guys here. I'm gonna change into Bruiser and punch that guy, and then this guy should die from that into a kick. There we go. That fight was actually kind of alright. This cutscene you actually can't skip until the X appears at the bottom of the screen. I paused a little bit too early. There you go. And that ends this part of the tailing section. That item really wanted to not actually. It's finally it actually tried to collect it. Right, so this is the last part of the stealth section. We're basically waiting for him to walk up to this road, and there's a hotel at the end that he's going to go into. The hotel is actually the hotel that you go to as part of Yakuza 3's story when you're looking for one of the patriarch leaders called Kanda, which leads to a set piece and a boss fight. It's kind of a nice little interlinking thing if you like play multiples of these games that they use these areas multiple times for many different reasons. Alright. And then once I get into the hotel, there's kind of a small hotel set piece that I've got to do. He actually, he stops right there actually. If you are too close when he stops there, he will just see you. And now he's going to run into the hotel. Okay, cool. I've tailed Kenmochi. Right, so it turns out the woman that he's been walking with this entire time is actually Makiko, because Makiko's goal is actually to murder all of the Crimson Lotus members, because apparently they set fire to like her family's like her family's home, and basically caused the death of her parents. So
That's all you got?
so she is trying to take her revenge on them. So that was Sender on the ground. Sender walks in here, basically gets beaten up. That is the hero camera. So that's the last equipable item we need. That gives us a bit more attack. I think it's 10%, so it's very much worth it to grab it, and it's basically free and right there. I'm gonna grab this potted plant, or the vibrant plant. Smack this guy, and then there's a table next to me that I'm gonna grab real quick. I didn't mean to do that. Drop the item, please. That's what I wanted. Yep, that was really slow because I grabbed this baton thing. I've never grabbed the baton thing on the ground. You want to grab the table because the table has the same attacking animation as a chair. Same as the and the potted plant has the same attacking animations as the ashtray. So you want to use the table more. Yep, so we've got another boss fight here with Kenmochi, but this time he's getting ready to go. He was getting ready to go into the jacuzzi and relax, but instead we're going to punch him. So go to heat mode to... Oh, that was a really bad juggle attempt. Smack this guy with a chair. Right. And hopefully he doesn't do his... Hopefully he doesn't do his... He actually did it. Alright, cool, that's fine. And he should go into QT now. There we go. So if you get the juggle at the start, you have enough time to then knock him down, break down the glass, go grab a chair, and hit him with a chair 2 or 3 times before he does his heat action charge. And then you can use the heat action during that to hit him through that heat action charge to do additional damage. I didn't really get the right position and stuff there. Oh yeah, they're just going to smack their faces into walls real quick. We're going to take another dip inside the jacuzzi. You can actually go into the jacuzzi during the fight. And if you go into the jacuzzi, this fight gets really silly really quick. You have like no room to move, and it's just these 2 guys rolling around the jacuzzi constantly, just knocking each other down. Let's finally see it. There we go. And yeah, that's the end of Kenmochi for right now. Punch him a few times in the jacuzzi, and then yeah, that's the end of chapter 3. So we saved Makiko from him. Right, so chapter 4 here. This is the last chapter of Kaito Files. So at the start, it kind of talks more about Makiko's like motivations with doing what she's doing, and then she then tells us a bit more about like why she's doing it, and asking about I think suicide. Asked why she had the Beito agency, and then something about Jun, the real dad, because the reason why Jun at the start of the story thinks that Kaito is his real dad because she has something written in like a diary about how she owes Kaito something, and it turns out she just owes him like 50 quid, and she was upset that she never got to give it back to him. Oh, kind of grab the vase real quick. Hit these guys a couple times with the vase. Back him there. Oh, thank you for doing the heat action. Hopefully. Cool. And hopefully send a... Hopefully. Yep, cool. Normally, if you get the juggle on Sender, which I was going for there, you're normally fine at not doing that. Now I'm going to go for a juggle on Igarashi. Cool. He went into heat mode, which is good. Try and do some damage to him while he's doing that, and then dodge that. And I'm going to try and do the Grippling Pile Drive. So I brought this ability called Grippling Pile Drive right in Chapter 2. It's kind of a throw that you can do at the end of moves, at the end of your third heavy attack, the overhead swing. Certain bosses actually get infinited by this move because of how they get up. And on the lower difficulties, which is what we're playing on, they get up. They tend to get up in that way more often than they do on the high difficulties. So by doing that, you can infinite some of the bosses in the story and some of the bonus bosses that exist in the Kaito Files. Right, so we're going to go back to the detective agency real quick to have a conversation with Jun. Quickly walk around. Something I didn't actually mention, this is just a funny Dragon Engine quirk. Opening doors can actually save or lose a tiny amount of time doing. If you open doors from the left or the right side, you actually lose like half a second. If you open them from the middle, the animation for it is just slightly faster. So whenever we're walking through doors that are double doors, we always aim for the middle. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't, because it depends on whether you have to run around NPCs or not. Oh yeah, so Shirakawa tells us that he's in just a cafe in Kamurocho. We're just not going to go talk to him. We don't need to. This is Yagami telling us that he'll be back tomorrow because his job got extended by a little bit because of some issues he had. Okay, got it right there. The sniffing sound is Kaito detecting that there's like an item around there with his like enhanced nose abilities. But these cutscenes just lead us to the point of no return where Kaito basically brings Jun along and then tells him, "Nah, you gotta stay here, dude." So he could have just left him at the other agency where he was just as safe. Right, so they're asking us about what the fire was done for, just for evidence. That's proved by the destroyed hard drive. And then we start asking about who Sadamoto really is. And it turns out that he was the one that was potentially responsible for manipulating Kenmochi and his guys into setting fire to Mikiko's parents' house. Right. So we're actually heading to like a party where Sadamoto is supposedly attending, and this is where Mikiko ran off to while when Kaito took his eyes off her for like 2 seconds. So in order to get into the party, because we're not invited, we decide that getting a waiter's outfit is the optimal way to do so. So we actually need to come back here because there's a key. We don't get told about the key for like a couple of dialogue boxes, but the key's just there for you to go grab. Otherwise, you have to walk all the way around to the other side, then come all the way back around here just to grab the key. So we just grab it now. There's actually a few conversations you can listen to. There's this one here. This one here is required. They talk about how a guy normally slacks off in the smoking area. You can actually listen to those guys if you want, but you don't need to. They talk about something else. I can't remember what it is. So the key we picked up was actually the key to the smoking area. Someone left it in the toilet for some reason.
Fine, have it your way. An ass whooping it is.
Thank you. Come on, cutscene. Right, so I'm going to grab this chair. I'm going to hit him with it. Hopefully hit him when he's down. Yep. Force him to stand up. Smack him with the chair, and I'm going to quick change into... Oh, Dad, you just beat him. I wasn't expecting that. I was going to quick change into Bruiser and try and punch him once, because you need to be in Bruiser for the fight after this. So now we beat that guy. We now have obtained his waiter's uniform. And in classic, like, anime-style fashion, they are exactly the same size as the clothes Kaito needs. Obviously. So we go into the party here. We're literally going to talk to 2 people, and then we're going to leave. So we do all that to get the waiter's uniform to talk to 2 people, then we just walk away. We head to the bathroom. We get changed out of the waiter's outfit, and then we walk out. We run into this blue hair guy again. You probably recognize him from chapter 3. Gonna quickly change into that. Oh, didn't mean to do that. And another reason to use EX mode for these fights is that we actually have a bit of iframes, and you can also do easier juggles with it. And gonna do this one more time. So the reason why you want to take care of this guy first is because if you don't, he actually has a mortal attack he can do. Oh, where's the hell is this guy? Thank you. Cool. And then after you do that, he gets back up again, and you gotta punch him again. And I'm going to do the same thing again, and because I don't have EX mode active, I'm actually going to quick change out of Bruiser a couple of times to make sure I cancel out of animations, and then hopefully this should get this guy. Okay, thank you for blocking. I didn't mean to do the kick. No, thank you. Right, there's one more guy with a longer HP bar here. You want to make sure that you deal with him. Something funny with Gorigori Finisher, with how the AI works in this, sometimes if they block all your attacks, they'll just get hit by Gorigori Finisher because there's a delay before the hitbox of it comes out, and the AI just goes, oh, he's not doing a move, and then they get smacked by the launcher. And over the middle, nah, I lost half a second, SMH. On stairs here, there's 2 guys in this room here. they're like, oh, who are you? These guys are kind of annoying because they're like grapplers. They like to grab you. So I'm going to use EX mode just to take care of this guy. Let that guy drop, and thank you, Kaito, for whiffing in the wrong direction. And this is going even worse than normal. Cool, that's fine. Oh, they're just not doing any damage. So, and it's the last guy. Right, cool. That was kind of a weird fight. Right, if you actually press the right trigger button too early there, you actually go into EX mode. In this game, sprint can be done with both the right trigger and X. In combat, what our right trigger does is it puts you in EX mode. It's just in that instance there, the fight trigger thing doesn't despawn time. I'm just going to quickly tackle a bunch of these guys. Hang on. I'm going to go to EX mode. And do the same thing here. Gonna... Cool. And then there should be a guy with 2 HP bars here. And I'm just going to deal with him now. Cool. And then there should be like a couple of guys left. Oh, I actually got to double right there. Alright, so that's that quick fight. Right, there's one more stealth section I've got to do because, you know, Kaito's been running around this area beating people up, and now there are these 2 guys in this corridor up here that he just goes, no, these guys were going to stealth by. We go up the lift. These 2 guys are like, no, these guys are the ones that, they're like, security's tightening. It's like, dude, you've been running around here just beating everyone up anyway. Right, so we're going to do another classic stealth section with Kaito where we're just going to run through everything. This one's kind of, this guy is annoying, but you can dodge this guy by hugging this pillar. Like that.
Right there.
And the camera gets really weird here if you do this, so I have to be careful here, because if you run backwards, you get seen by the guy that you just walked past. So you want to make sure that you don't do that. Perfect. Like that. I nearly walked into him. And there you go. Skipping one of those QTs does save quite a bit of time. So I'm glad I actually got that. I don't normally get that. It's actually kind of annoying to get. It's pretty inconsistent. Oh yeah, so now we get introduced to a guy with a gun. So generally in Yakuza games, there is a hierarchy about enemy positions on the tier list of whether you should deal with them. But enemies that just have fists are ones you can normally leave. Anything with a knife or a sword, they take priority. But anybody with a gun takes priority over that, because guns do so much, like... Oh, thank you for knocking the chair out of my hand. It had 1 hit left in it, so it doesn't even matter. Right, cool. But anyone with a gun normally takes priority, so I'm going to try to take care of the guy with the gun, because even on the lower difficulties, guns do break your HP bar quite heavily. Yep, that guy was going for a... that guy was going for one of those, so I wanted to... I'm going to grab a chair, thank you. And just take care of these guys. Swing. Okay. And hopefully this guy should... I'm just going to wait for him to do that, and then... I didn't mean to throw him. I wanted to do my mortal... I wanted to do the mortal attack. Thank you. Fun. Alright. So that fight didn't go too well, because my chairs were not, like, hitting enough people. And then the spawn times were pretty weird. That's fine. Right, cool. So we're nearly at the end of this episode. Oh, yeah, it's open from the wrong side. There's a bunch of items in that room back there that you can go grab, but we just need to go through this door. Alright. So now we're going up to the roof, and we get to hear more about Sadamoto's plan. But first we have to try and wade Kenmochi over to our side, and by telling him that the fire that they started was no accident. That it was basically instigated by Sadamoto. Oh yeah, and during these cutscenes, it turns out that Sadamoto had poisoned a bunch of the drinks. So anyone who had any of the drinks while at the party,
you two go.
but basically just died. Oh yeah, so now we get to fight Sadamoto. As a community, we lovingly called him Knife Daddy, because he's a father who has a knife. Shoutouts to Froob. I heard that from Froob, and I was like, damn, that's kind of funny, though. Oh yeah, shoutouts to the dynamic intros that we get in a lot of the Yakuza games. These are always really cool. Right, so the Sadamoto fight. He has a few attacks which you really don't want to see. He has one that basically reverses all of your controls, because it inflicts like a confusion status on you. You don't want to see that one at all. So hopefully I can get a juggle on him. So phase 1 is basically get a juggle and then hope to God he doesn't body you too much. Cool, quick change. Cool, and that's actually the move you want to see him do, because all he does is stab you there, which is normal. Then you... Cool, that was easy. Getting stabbed there is pretty normal. He can do all of the other moves I mentioned, like the one where he confuses your inputs and stuff. You don't want to see that one. This QT is always XX on the lower difficulties anyway. When you go up in difficulties, those QTs that have multiple inputs become really, really long. One instance of being able to do this, you can actually hit this guy during his charge up, because heavy attacks actually can hit through. Okay. That was really weird. You normally go straight into the bottle action. I'm going to go for a juggle again. Oh, and... Okay, I somehow whiffed. Please hit him. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know how I whiffed that hit, but that was the Thunder Motor fight. That didn't go too well, but that was fine. He didn't mess me about too much. He can do loads of different things. Like he'll super armor. He'll do his mortal attack again. He'll spray you with a spray and stun you and tons of other stuff. You basically don't want to see any of that, so I'm glad he didn't do any of it. Alright, so that's Kaito and Jin having a heart-to-heart, because it turns out that Sadamoto had also put the poison that he put in the drinks on the knife that he cut Kaito's hand with. So Kaito had to go in the hospital. Alright, so now we're going to go back to Shirakawa's clinic, because that's where Mikiko is. This is the final boss of the Kaito files. We get a nice boss with a dynamic intro, and he's not the main villain of the story and all this other stuff, but no, what's going to happen is these two guys have a tiny bit of a disagreement they need to sort out, so they're going to pull their shirts off and punch each other. And Crippling Pile Driver I brought earlier that I did on Igarashi works extraordinarily well on this guy. So what you can do is you can constantly just hit this guy with the heavy attacks in 2 throws. And if he gets up at the right timing every time, if he gets up too slow, you don't get it. But normally, this only ever drops once. It's just funny that you get all the way to the end and you're like, yo, let me just infinite this guy real quick. Cool, and then he's going to get up again, and when he goes into heat mode, he restores his entire HP bar. So I got to get rid of an entire HP bar again. Cool, and they're going to do that. 1, 2. Oh, thank you for getting that. Okay. Cool, easy. Once you get it started again, it's easy, but getting it started again can be pretty difficult. And he hasn't dropped yet, which is actually pretty good. Once you get down to about halfway through this last HP bar, it starts the final QTE. Should be around that, yeah. Oh, I say it's like 2/3. And timing ends on the last hit on the last QTE input. So it's square. So there's 4 QTEs. I know which ones there is. So headbutt each other a couple times, and here's last QTE. And I hit this. That's the time. And time. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in for Lost Judgment, the Kaito files. This is one of the first actual story DLCs that RGG Studios have ever done. So it's just a really cool little speedrun. If you want to join the Yakuza game and join the Yakuza community and play one of these games, this is one of the more worth it ones. Couple of quick shout-outs. Shout-outs to the guys that run Lost Judgment. So there's Froob, King Duncan, Ryu Hoshen, PS Kala. Those guys all do brilliant work for the Yakuza games, Lost Judgment, and basically any games within the RGG series mantle. If you want to speedrun any of these games, you can go on SRC. There's a Discord. All these games have notes on them everywhere. So come and join in, have some fun, and hopefully you guys enjoyed. Feel free to cut me off whenever you need to. I can't talk right now.
A few more seconds.
A few more seconds?
Leave you hanging.
Seconds?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thanks, Rebel. Thanks for Lost Judgment. Coming up next, we have Horizon Forbidden West. Don't go anywhere.